What is the right place to take profits on XRP? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about that exact thing because going into this bull run, XRP ETFs around the corner, a lot of people are asking the question, where do I take profit on XRP? Well, in this video, we're going to talk all about that. It's a highly controversial video because everyone has very different expectations on just how high XRP can go. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. That said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Because like I said, this is going to be a controversial video because everyone has completely different expectations and completely different ways of investing in terms of how they plan to profit from XRP. Now, I'll start off and say it's really important to understand why you are in XRP, right? Are you in XRP for a quick flip? Are you treating it as a trade? Or do you see a greater vision or a greater transformation of the global financial system? If you're an XRP just for a quick trade, make a quick buck, flip it into something else, look, that's totally fine, but you're probably not going to be doing this off fundamentals, right? You probably already have a plan in place. For example, when XRP gets to 10, 15 bucks, you plan on swapping out a decent portion of your bag. Now, that's a totally fine strategy, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you go back and look at some of the most successful investments in history, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, right? All these great companies, there wasn't necessarily a good place to say, okay, I'm taking profit on Apple. Why is that? Because Apple hits a new all-time high every single year. It's always higher than the year prior. So if your strategy, right, was to maximize financial gain, well, the right move probably was to never sell any Apple. And a lot of people look at XRP in a very similar way. A lot of people look at XRP as something that can be a global transformation to the way money moves. We're going into a brand new paradigm where the entire world is being revolutionized. Whether it's through AI, whether it's through transportation, whether it's through e-commerce, everything is becoming integrated into the internet. But one of the things that has not yet been integrated into the internet is the global financial system, the rails of how money moves. This is essentially what cryptocurrency looks to disrupt and looks to change. And if you have a global transformation, right, and you have cryptocurrency networks being essentially the new plumbing for the financial system we're going into, well, that will likely warrant a very high valuation for the networks that are actually used. Now, for me, this is a huge part of the reason why I'm in XRP and crypto in general. I noticed that, yeah, the financial system is broken. It doesn't work. It's severely outdated. There has to be some technology that's going to change this. And when I look at all the different cryptocurrencies out there, XRP stands clear as one of them that is going to be the winners in really ushering in this new transformation. Now, because of that, for me, right, I'm not that interested in what price XRP hits in the next year, in the next 2 years, not even the next 5 years, right? I understand these global transformations take time and there's going to be big moves along the way and big moments of progress, but I can make the argument that Apple is still getting bigger every single day. Has Apple hit its peak momentum? Yeah, it definitely hit its peak momentum, but it's still growing. It's still becoming more and more ingrained in society. And I think something like XRP is going to follow a very similar adoption curve. So for me, I'm really not interested in selling much XRP, if any, until that vision really plays out. And for me, I have a long time horizon for that vision to play out. I don't expect things to just happen in the snap of a fingers. I expect big partnerships to happen in the snap of a finger, but it takes a long time for these things to really get deep rooted in the current financial system. And for me, I personally think XRP is going to do that. I think XRP is going to blow away my expectations on how important and how critical it is in this next layer of plumbing. And for me, why would I ever sell XRP before that? Why would I ever sell XRP before this vision that I have that I know XRP can achieve plays out? It doesn't make any sense. So for me, it's not so much of a time bet. It's not so much as a price bet. It's really when my actual thesis of XRP fully plays out. And if that thesis fully plays out, right, and we're at the point where Apple is right now, where, the thesis is largely hit, it's still growing, but it's more of just passive inflows coming in. At that point, right, I might have a different evaluation. It's like I was right about everything. All the price has really been factored in. At that point, maybe I'd be more willing to take a profit. But when we're sitting in this transformational time, right? When we're just getting cryptocurrency regulations, I mean, if you look at the XRP price chart, you can still see the dinosaur at the beginning of the history of the chart. Like, this is as early as it gets to something that is a transformational technology. And because of that, there's like a million other things I would rather sell if I ever needed money than XRP. And I would only be selling if I needed money, right? I don't want to sit on a bunch of cash that's constantly being devalued every single year. I don't want to go sell XRP and rotate it into some cryptocurrency that has significantly worse fundamentals. I don't want to trade in and out of it and incur a whole bunch of capital gains implications and possibly risk losing my XRP. For me, the best thing I can possibly do is just sit on my hands and wait, right? Wait for this thesis to play out. XRP was always an investment for me that I expected, right, to go up massive percentages over time. That's why I'm here. I'm not here for a 10x. I'm not even really here for a 100x, right? I'm here for something much greater. And that's the advantage you get to being very early into these markets. But the disadvantage is you have to wait. You have to wait for the market to figure out that you have been right. And if XRP trends into the direction where I know it will, then we will be right, and the rest of the market will figure that out one day. But I can't rush the market. The market's going to figure it out, and I just have to sit on my hands and wait and let time take its course. I need to let the fundamentals continue to develop. I need to let the investment mature, and I'm not going to be taking profit on XRP before it matures. Now, it's really important to understand that the reason why I think this way is, well, I'm a younger person, right? I have a long time horizon. I have plenty of cash on hand where I don't need to think about selling XRP. But if I was significantly older, right? If I was 60, 70 years old, well, then maybe I'd be taking profits on XRP a little sooner because, I have a shorter life left. I want to be able to enjoy that life. I want to be able to take profits and see the investment actually play out. But, that doesn't mean I have to sell my entire bag. If XRP does a fraction what a lot of people think it can do, you probably get plenty of liquidity just for selling an eighth of your bag, a tenth of your bag. And when it comes to what price to do it at, I mean, there's never going to be a perfect answer to this question, but it looks like we're about to enter price discovery, right? You don't have to time it perfectly. You don't have to have this price target where if it doesn't get to $25, you're never selling, right? XRP is likely going to make an extension upward. And during that move, right, if you have debt obligations, if you have certain things that you need to go cover, it's potentially a good idea to go make your life a little bit easier, right? Use some of the proceeds from the investment to go make your life better. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in the unique and lucky position where you don't need cash, right? You're just sitting on an investment so you don't get devalued, similar to me. What's the advantage of selling? What is the advantage of taking profit and putting yourself in a position where you just have a whole bunch of cash and you don't have access to a transformational asset anymore? I don't get it. If you think you can time these markets, that's great. But guess what, guys? A lot of people, and I've talked to them back in 2017, right, thought they could take profits at XRP hitting 1 cent, hitting 70 or 0.75 cents. They thought they could take profits here. And guess what? XRP never came back to them, right? There's a lot of people who constantly think, oh, well, I'll just sell at the high and buy back lower. That's great, but there's a lot of people who fail to do that. Most people fail to do that. Take a listen to anyone who sold Bitcoin before in the past. Guess what their number one regret is? Selling the Bitcoin, right? Because at the end of the day, they never actually needed the money, the vast majority of them. The vast majority of them sold Bitcoin because I thought it was going to go down. And then Bitcoin did go down eventually, but it went much higher before it went down. Trying to time the top of cycles and rotate out is usually a fool's errand. And you end up just incurring a whole bunch of tax consequences where even if you did buy back lower, maybe the tax consequence was so big it cancels out any of the purchase you did. So unless you have something, right? Unless you have a plan for what you're going to do with the cash, right? Pay off a bunch of credit card debt. Go purchase a new home, go purchase a new vehicle, right? Those are all things that you get a material benefit from right off the bat. But if you're just doing it to sell, right, just because you're scared, well, then maybe you have too much invested right now, right, where you're a little emotionally uneasy about what you have. But maybe you're just following the crowd. Maybe you're following the crowd of people who made the mistake with Bitcoin. Maybe you're following the crowd of people who made the mistake with countless different investments, Tesla, Apple, all these different companies where they essentially sold because it went up so much and completely lost sight of why they were in the investment. completely lost sight of the fact that these things are going to change the world and we're in a brand new asset class and these things are going to take a long time to play out. Maybe they lost sight of that. But for me, I won't, because for me, I'm not going to be selling XRP until it does the things I know it can do. And for me, that requires a certain level of global adoption, right? That requires most tier one banks moving money and using XRP, maybe without even realizing it. And until we enter this world, right, where XRP is a global liquidity and settlement tool, I'm not interested in selling XRP, because until it's dead obvious to every single person out there on the importance and the critical nature of something like XRP, then people don't get it yet. Until it is blatantly obvious and being aired on CNBC every single day, and they're talking about how Ripple is one of the most important financial institutions in the world, the new BlackRock, and they're talking about XRP being the most pristine liquidity tool for the global financial system. Until those things happen, right? No one is going to get it yet. No one is going to be in that position where they're actually allocating to it. They're still not going to get it until they're told directly to their face, hey, this thing is very important, go buy it. And when that happens, right, that's potentially when I would be interested in taking some profit. But I think we are potentially decades away from that happening. And I know that sounds scary to some people, but that's the fun of it. That's why you have so much money to make. That's why you're so lucky that you're here so early. Because if we had a very short time period before that real vision played out, guess what? You would have already missed it. So the fact that so much is still ahead of us, the fact that so many people don't get it, and there's still so much opportunity to make a profit here, that's why I have zero intention of selling my XRP. We're so early to this transformational asset, no one understands it, and for me, that is one of my favorite things to see in any single market. Because guys, eventually, they will get it. Eventually, everyone will have XRP. Eventually, it will be in every single person's retirement account, and they won't even think twice about it. But guys, until then, I'm going to be holding my XRP, because my vision for what this thing can do is so much greater than some short-term price move. It has to do with something that is going to rewire the way any single company, any single person, any single country does business. And for me, that requires an expansion in XRP's price I don't think a lot of people can truly comprehend. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.